Coach, 10 threes for Utah in the first two quarters, and Joe Boylan told me at the half that was an emphasis, a three-point defense.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you guys were able to correct it? Only 2 threes for them in the second half.
Well, I mean, a little more urgency. You know, they run a lot of kind of actions on the weak side, and we were in the first half, we were just loose. We were off our guys. You know, Markkanen's an incredible shooter with great length and doesn't need a lot of time or space to get the shots off. And we just needed to be way tighter on all that stuff. You know, and also have a mindset to contest everything a little harder. They had 17 points on uncontested shots in the first half. You know, that's just unacceptable. So, but better job in you know, in the second half for sure.
Just the defense as a whole to start the season, 4 of your 5 first opponents, you've held them to under 100. Just how pleased are you with what you're seeing out there on that end?
Yeah, very pleased. You know, the activity's good for the most part. You know, tonight we didn't rebound as well as we had been. They were really, really strong on the glass. But yeah, it's been great. You know, just trying to figure some things out on the fly defensively, but our activity's been good. I think for the most part we're trying to swallow up the paint, you know, and then get out and contest and fly around. So been very pleased, yeah. So,
Chris, we've been talking a lot about Cat making the adapting offensively. Is that in the third quarter about as close as you've seen to kind of what he's capable of? And
yeah, you know, it was great, I think, to see some threes go in for him because, you know, we really need that. We need him to take more. And, we, you know, he's gotten really good looks for most of the season so far, and it's only a matter of time until they go in. You know, I've had a matchup in the post, too. You know, so, yeah, it was good to finally see him get a run going. But, yeah, I thought, you know, the other night he also played well. It was mostly down inside. So good to get a couple games, you know, under the belt. And his spacing's been really good, and it's leading to a lot of good stuff for him and us, you know.
When he starts making those threes, do you feel like it kind of can trickle down to the rest of your team a little bit? You guys weren't shooting it from deep well in the first half there.
Yeah, we weren't shooting it from deep. We weren't shooting it at all. I thought we passed up a bunch of open stuff, particularly at the end of transition, and when they turned into kind of nowhere drives, and decision-making after that was questionable. But, yeah, I think we got to let it fly. You know, we got guys who can shoot it, and we did a good job, I thought, of finding some shots in the first half. But we put a heavy emphasis on attacking the rim too. So, you know, we did that. But you know, we also got to kind of keep up in that 3-point rate. But what was really pleasing, is the 31 free throws. You know,
so you weren't kidding when you said you might play all 3 together.
What's that?
All 3 centers.
Yeah. Did they play all together tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. So
what went into? I mean, you said before it was in jest, but
yeah.
What went into that, and is it just
well,
kind of another way to get Nas?
It's literally like it's Nas's ability really to guard on the perimeter has gone to another level. You know, and just trusting those guys out there. And if there's matchups that we feel like we can do it, we'll do it. So I wouldn't expect it to be a daily occurrence, though. You know,
is the best part of Cat and Ant's production tonight the fact that it really didn't seem forced?
Yeah, I thought, you know, they each made some toughies, but they got enough good buckets in the flow. Yeah, I thought particularly to start the game, we had really good combinations between our guys. And then, you know, they're both hardwired scorers. And when they see it go in a couple times, they want to see it go in 10 times in a row. And that can be a good thing, but it also can be, you know, something you got to watch. So, but tonight it felt good, and it was, you know, nice to be able to break them up when Cat got rolling, you know. So,
Chris, I know you just talked about the defense, but it seemed like such a message from you to us that defense needed to be the identity of this team. I remember a couple years back, it felt that way too, where that was really like established in camp. What impact does that have? The kind of the focus that you've had on the defensive end the whole time.
Yeah, well, you're just not going to win much unless you guard. You know, I've been on teams that try to outscore people, and it looks great, but you know, oftentimes you end up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. It's not a lot of fun. You don't feel like you ever can control the game, even when you're scoring. So we got long athletic guys on the perimeter who can fly around and get into gaps and, you know, try to create havoc. And when you're young, when I first got here, really young. It's just easier to like have a pursuit mentality than it has, to read too many reads and stuff like that. So just peel it back and now coming into the season, I don't think last year we ever found an identity. We just never did. We did a lot of good things. We kind of reinvented ourselves many times along the way. But coming into the season, we just knew with our lineup that it had to be defense. Had to be defense, and it had to be big. If you're going to play big with big guys, you got to do the things that big teams do. And big teams should be physical, and they should play defense. So
one of the more telling stats for you guys the last year or so has been points off turnovers allowed, and even though you were going to the rim hard and they were bunched up a lot, it seemed like you didn't allow very many, didn't turn it over very much.
Yeah.
How much of that is like floor balance and what you're working on and spacing? Is that all kind of contributing to this?
It is all kind of contributing to it. I think I'll give credit to two places. I think first and foremost, our guys are really bought into the urgency to get back. We put a highlighter on everybody not doing their part in transition, and we've had some guys that have bad habits, and they've been much better, certainly since game one, but all season. And then Corliss Williamson has done a really, really good job of coming up with our plan of attack in defensive transition. We're way more organized, I think, than we had been before. He kind of oversees that for us, and he's made it simple. And I think we're not turning it over, of course, and each game we're taking better shots, and that helps you. And our spacing has been better, so yeah, it's all related. But it comes down to you gotta have gotta care, you gotta get back, gotta have a give a shit factor. So
Ant has been top 5 in the league in mid-range attempts per game so far. How have you kind of felt about that? And
I love them when they go in.
Yeah.
And when they don't go in, it's probably listen, in the flow of the game, there's time and place for him. And he's got the ability to make them. And he's something that he wants to add to his game. But as I said last time I was here the other night, you got to double down on the things that you're really good at. And tonight he got to the rim a lot. And I thought he turned down some threes, and I'd like to see him let those fly a little bit more. But yeah,